Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming OCS exams happening in November 2024. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at the session outcomes. First things first, I'm going to highlight what you need to do with regards to Preseen application. You need to know what type of information you need to bring in when developing your answers, because as the finance officer, you have to be conversant with the internal dynamics of your chosen company. And when developing your answers, if you bring in relevant information from the pre-scene, then it gives the examiner the idea, or the invigilator the idea, that you are aware of the internal dynamics of your chosen company. So with that in mind, I will explain what you need to get right when it comes to applying pre-scene information when developing your answers. And then I will be moving on to an industry analysis, because before you start your preparations focused on the pre-scene document, you need to know what real life companies which operate within your industry go through and what they are into. So with that in mind, I will be conducting an industry analysis, and then I will move on to a pre-scene analysis. As you know, as I mentioned in the first webinar, which happened a week before, I said that our pre-scene analysis videos consist of 4 main videos, because your pre-scene document is divided into 4 main parts, and focused on each part, we have developed different pre-scene analysis videos. Given the time constraint, I'm not going to take you through the entire pre-scene. Instead, I'm simply going to focus your attention towards a certain part of the pre-scene document, and I will be conducting this pre-scene analysis based on the annotated pre-scene which we have developed for the upcoming OCS session. And before we get into the nitty-gritties, let me quickly remind you about the upcoming free OCS webinars and workshops which we have scheduled for you. So the third webinar, which is the most important webinar out of the 4 webinars which we have scheduled for you, is happening next Saturday. So in it, I will be teaching you answering and time management technique. So if you are to pass your OCS exam, you need to be conversant about how to structure your answers appropriately. So you need to adhere to a certain methodology, because if you do not stick to a structure, you will run out of time at your exam. And if you run out of time, chances of you passing the exam becomes extremely low. And on top of that, when you try to spend some time to plan out your answer, you are making sure that you are developing an answer which is aligned with the requirement, and thereby you are working on the quality of your answer. So in order to get all these elements right, it's of utmost importance that you attend this webinar, because at the third webinar, I will be after teaching you answering and time management technique, I will be taking you through one of the mock exams which we have developed for you, and I will explain how to implement these answering and time management techniques in a practical sense. And when attempting the 6 mock exams, you are supposed to keep repeating the same technique over and over again, with the intention of getting it right at your real exam. And in the 4th webinar, exam prep, I will be sharing examiner's comments with you, because when conducting your preparations, you need to be conversant about what your examiner expects from you. And on top of that, I will also highlight what you need to do to develop a higher level of confidence, because as per the CIMA examiner, if you are confident about your skill set, chances of you passing the OCS exam becomes extremely high. And on top of that, I will also mention what you need to do to manage exam stress, especially when attempting mock exams, because if you are aware of how to manage stress when attempting mock exams, you will successfully manage stress at your real examination. And via the 3 workshops, I will be taking you through exam standard and pre-scene specific questions based on our mock exams covering E1, F1, and P1 syllabi, thereby taking you through different questions which will give you an indication about how each syllabus area is tested at your exam, and what you need to get right when developing your answers or when developing your answer structures. And on top of that, via these workshops, I will be addressing your questions and concerns, because I will be conducting Q&As in each of these workshops. And in the final workshop, which happens 2 or 3 days before your exam, I will be sharing last minute tips to make sure that you walk into the exam with a positive attitude, and to make sure that you believe in your skill set, because if you don't believe in your skill set, you are not poised to play the role of a finance officer. So make use of these free resources which we offer. Keep in touch with me via these webinars and workshops on a weekly basis. Keep tabs about your performance as well, which will make sure that you are successful at your real exam. Okay, so what you need to focus on with regards to pre-scene application, what is the right approach? First things first, you need to know your key information. For instance, this time's pre-scene is based on a company which is known as BackOffice. I've already shared a blog post with you. I hope you read through it. You can access this blog post via our website as well. I will later on explain how you can access it. So this time's pre-scene, as I mentioned earlier, is based on a backpack manufacturer. The name of the company is BackOffice, and BackOffice manufactures and sells 5 different backpacks. Okay, so likewise, you need to be conversant about what happens within your chosen organization, especially in relation to what happens within the different departments of your organization. You need to be aware of the purchasing related activities carried out, or procurement related activities carried out within your organization. Then you need to be conversant about how production is taking place within your organization, what type of manufacturing facility is there. And on top of that, you need to be conversant about how finished goods or finished backpacks are distributed to customers, what type of customers we are dealing with. So you have to be conversant with sales related information as well, what happens within the sales department. So likewise, and on top of that, you have to also be conversant about the future plans of the organization, especially focusing your attention towards the budgets of the company. And on top of that, you have to be conversant about what appears within the financial statements which were prepared for the previous 2 years, because it gives you a glimpse about the financial stability of the company. So likewise, you have to know your key information. I think you would have gone through the pre-scene document, and there's something like 25 pages, if I'm not mistaken. So across these 25 pages, there's hordes and hordes of information. So it's not easy to pick and select which information you need to remember and which of the information you need to disregard. So with the intention of making your life easy, we have developed an annotated pre-scene. You will see what I'm talking about in a little while, because I'm conducting the pre-scene analysis based on the annotated pre-scene which we have developed. And on top of that, we will also share a set of TikTok videos, which is a good mind map, and it's a good summary of the entire pre-scene. And additionally, after this session, I will be sharing a PDF with you via the OCS WhatsApp group. And if you go through this PDF over and over until the day of your exam, you need not do anything else to remember what appears within your pre-scene document. Let me quickly show you what this PDF is all about. As I mentioned, you have to be conversant about the internal and external dynamics of your chosen company, especially focusing on the internal dynamics. So if you go through this PDF, which we have developed, it makes your life easy to remember what appears within your entire pre-scene. So you can see that I've indicated about the industry dynamics, history of the company, as well as information about the internals, then the mission, ethos, as well as commitments of your chosen company. I've given information about the product range, what happens within the purchasing department, production department, sales and distribution departments, as well as costing and budgeting related information, what appears within your financial statements. I've given you an indication about the future of the company, thereby highlighting the product pipeline, as well as I've highlighted certain issues, because in this pre-scene, the examiner specifically mentioned that there are R&D issues or issues within the research and development department of your chosen organization. So once you have access to this, once you get your hands on this document, it makes your life easy. And on top of that, keep watching the TikTok videos as well to make sure that you memorize what appears within your pre-scene document. So you need not worry about this element, because we have covered this. And you need to also understand the numbers. You have to remember the key ratios. In a general sense, you need to know whether the company is profitable. And on top of that, you have to know about the activity ratios, especially given the fact that as a finance officer, you have to be conversant with working capital ratios. You need to know the receivable days of the company, the inventory days, the payable days, the CCC or the cash conversion cycle, what all these numbers tell about the company's performance. So and on top of that, you have to be aware of the gearing ratio of the company, which gives us an indication about the future of the company. So likewise, you have to be conversant with the numbers. Again, we have covered this element via the financial analysis slides. And on top of that, I said that there are, as part of the Preseen analysis videos, there are 4 videos in total. So the last video, the 4th one, is primarily focused on the financial statements of your company, thereby conducting a financial analysis. So once you have watched the 4th Preseen analysis video, you know your numbers. You will gain an in-depth understanding about the financial situation of your chosen company. And at the exam, you are supposed to before the exam, you are supposed to prepare yourself, thereby attempting mock exams. You have to be conversant about what type of scenarios will be thrown at you at your real exam. Because if you have gone through the Preseen document, at the very end, you would have seen SMT meeting minutes or senior management teams meeting minutes. When conducting the Preseen analysis, I will take you through one of the elements highlighted within the SMT meeting minutes. So these meeting minutes gives us an indication about what type of scenarios will be tested at your real exam. So you have to be conversant about the type of scenarios which can be tested. However, as a finance officer, you have to be open-minded. Why am I saying this? Because the CIMA examiner is trying to replicate a real-life corporate environment. So in a real-life corporate environment, it's as if you're walking into office and checking your emails, and based on the information presented in each of the emails, you are trying to come up with your responses. So you cannot predict what type of issues the company is going to face in the future. You cannot predict what type of opportunities the company is trying to exploit in the future. So it's best that you are open-minded, because at office, you might be running your own business, or you might be an employee of a certain company. So until you open your emails, you will not know the type of issues or the opportunities the company is faced with at the moment. So because of that, since the examiner is trying to replicate a real life corporate environment, there's absolutely no point of trying to predict what is going to happen at your exam or what type of scenarios will be thrown at you. Instead, it's best that you conduct your preparations focused on the mock exams. Yet at the exam, it's best that you are open-minded. So that's exactly why in the first webinar, I said you are supposed to stop all your work a day prior to the exam with the intention of achieving this type of positivity and open-mindedness before you attempt your real exam. And remember that the scenario presented in the exam carries latest information about your company. So via the Preseen document, the examiner gives you an indication about the history of the company, what has happened within the company in the past, what has happened within the different departments of the company, what has happened within the company in terms of financial performance. And the examiner also has provided certain hints about what the company strives to achieve in the future. However, at your exam, present information or the type of issues faced by the company or the type of opportunities the type company is trying to exploit will be presented at your real exam. So you have to be conversant about the past of the company. You have to be conversant about what the company strives to achieve in the future. Yet you have to be present. You have to develop your answers considering the information provided at your real exam. You will gain a better understanding about all these elements once you have attended the 3rd webinar, once I have taught you the answering and time management techniques based on one of the mock exams which we have developed for you. Okay, so then how should you bring in information from the pre-scene when developing your answers? You are supposed to refer a site in such a way that it adds value to your answer. So whenever you are bringing in information from the pre-scene, always think whether this practice adds value to your answer or not. For instance, I've seen hordes of students out there when developing answers, when they start to develop a certain response. Let's assume the question is about decision trees. When developing their answer, the first in the first paragraph itself, students say that back office is into designing, manufacturing, and selling backpacks, and they are selling 5 different backpack ranges. Okay, so should you actually say that to your finance manager? Is your finance manager unaware of the type of backpacks which we sell? That is not the case. Yeah, so there's absolutely no point of parroting or repeating pre-seen information without thinking about the relevance of the pre-seen info which you had brought in. And if you do not think about the value which you are trying to bring in by considering or mentioning pre-seen information, you will not pass your OCS exam. So for instance, as I mentioned earlier, if the question is about decision trees, yet when you start the answer, if you talk about our product ranges, it adds no value. It makes no sense because your manager is already aware of what we manufacture within our organization. So avoid overloading your response with unnecessary details just to demonstrate that you have studied the pre-scene. Instead, you can bring in information from the pre-scene, but when you are doing it, you have to be conversant about whether it's actually aligned with the requirement and whether such an exercise adds value to your answer. So you will learn these things in depth after you have attended the third webinar, Answering Technique. And you will also learn how to do this by referring to the suggested answers and answer plans of the 6 mock exams which we have developed for you. And after watching the 20 master classes, you will significantly improve your application skills, because we have developed, when developing the master classes, our main objective was to teach you theory, at the same time highlight what you need to do with regards to improving your application skills. Okay. All right. Then how should you tackle E1, F1, and P1 syllabi? So as I mentioned earlier in the first webinar, I said that the OCS exam is a highly theoretical examination. So technical knowledge is heavily tested. 80% of your questions will be based on your P1 and F1 syllabi. So this is a theory heavy examination. So when facing a theory heavy examination, if you think about leaving out any syllabus area when conducting your preparations, you are gravely mistaken. For instance, most students struggle with decision trees. So if there's because of that, students tend to avoid going through decision trees when conducting their preparations. But if you get such a question at your exam, which usually carries a weightage of 50% or 60%, then chances of you passing the exam becomes extremely low. So with that in mind, you have to go through the entire syllabus. So you have to prepare yourself to apply theories and concepts when developing your answers. For instance, if there's a question about variance analysis, you have to consider the knowledge which you have gained by going through your P1 syllabus. And the numbers, the facts and figures will be provided to you. The different types of variances will be provided to you, and you are supposed to utilize your P1 knowledge and explain the numbers provided at the exam. Same applies to decision trees as well. You are not expected to develop decision trees at your exam. Instead, the decision tree will be provided to you at your real examination. Your role is to interpret decision trees. So if you're clueless about decision trees, you will not get any marks for such a subtask. So you have to be prepared to apply theories and concepts when developing your answers, and prepare for interpretation of figures and numbers, as I mentioned just right now. And when conducting your preparations, do not skip any topic, because any syllabus area can be tested at the exam. And um, um, do not rely on any predictions as well, because any area can be tested at your real examination. So I've seen even tutors saying that certain syllabus areas will not be tested at the OCS exam, which is not true. If it is there, if a certain concept is included within your E1, F1, and P1 syllabi, it will definitely be tested at your real exam. However, you need not worry about syllabus content, because when developing the 6 mock exams, I've made sure to cover the entire syllabus. I've included all syllabus areas taken from E1, P1, and F1 syllabi. So once you have attempted the 6 mock exams and developed the answer plans focused on all 6 mock exams, you will pass the OCS exam for sure. Because you will be conversant about how each syllabus area is tested at your real exam. When that is the case, you can develop well-structured and high-quality answers which are totally aligned with each requirement at your real exam. Okay, so let's move on to the industry analysis. Okay, so these times, as I mentioned earlier, these times Preseen is based on a backpack manufacturer. So let's try to understand what happens within the backpack manufacturing industry. So our industry analysis slides consist of 4 main elements. I'm not going to take you through the entire set of slides. Instead, I'm going to direct your attention towards the industry overview, which will give you an in-depth understanding of what happens within your chosen industry. And on top of that, I will also direct your attention towards industry trends, because based on these trends, scenarios will be tested at your real exam. Okay, so how is this market defined? As I mentioned earlier, this time's case study is based on the backpack manufacturing industry. This includes the design, manufacturing, and sale of travel, hiking, business, and everyday carry backpacks. Everyday carry backpacks are also known as EDCs. So this industry, the players within this industry are into designing backpacks, and they, once a design is finalized, they end up manufacturing a certain backpack. And once they had manufactured a certain backpack, they end up selling it via their own websites or via third-party retailers. And they are manufacturing different types of backpacks meant for different activities, such as travel, hiking, business, or for office use, as well as EDCs, which are known as everyday carry backpacks. And these products cater to students, professionals, travelers, and outdoor enthusiasts, serving both practical and aesthetic purposes. So some of the customers use a backpack for practical purposes, and some use it as a fashion item. So you have to be conversant about customer needs. So some customers use it for practical purposes, such as carrying office stationery and laptop, or if it's a student, carrying the books and whatnot. Whereas there are a certain segment within the market, certain set of customers who are also using backpacks for aesthetic or fashion related purposes. And what type of product characteristics can you find? Different types of material are utilized. So there's a lot of plastic-based material, or oil-based, because once you extract oil, once you refine it, one of the byproducts is known as plastic. So plastic or oil-based material are used. And on top of that, nowadays, since most of the younger customers are looking for green products, companies are focusing on utilizing recyclable material as well. And these backpacks come with different features focused on different needs of consumers. So I'm not going to take you through all these features, because all the same type of information are highlighted within the Preseen document. And there are different types of backpacks which are designed for different user needs as well. So these are the product characteristics. Different material are used. These backpacks are designed meant for different to carry different features, as well as there are different types of backpacks considering differing needs of consumers as well. Okay, so let me quickly move on to industry trends. So there's a lot of technological advancements which you can see within this industry because nowadays backpacks come with built-in USB ports, especially given the fact that customers love to always charge their phones on the go. So with that in mind, USB ports are there, built-in batteries are there, and on top of that, whilst there are a set of customers who are known as hybrid workers who are working at home as well as the hot desk at office. So when that is the case, when someone is working on the move, you need to utilize your USB drives and whatnot. So with that in mind, built-in USB ports can be seen, and solar panels are utilized for charging devices, especially focused on customers who are trying to be sustainable or eco-conscious, so focused on this customer segment. Solar companies have developed backpacks which come with solar panels fixed into these backpacks, and you can see technologies such as RFID blocking as well. These are security measures introduced by backpack manufacturers to make sure that the passwords as well as the debit cards, the phones and whatnot are safeguarded from individuals who are trying to hack into your systems, individuals who are trying to utilize your debit cards, credit cards, and whatnot, utilizing RFID technology. So RFID blocking technology can be seen within backpacks as well. And most of the players out there are focusing on sustainability. They are utilizing recycled material when manufacturing their backpacks, and they are also focusing on reducing carbon emissions in manufacturing, especially focused on younger consumers. And there's a growth in e-commerce as well. Most companies, backpack manufacturers out there, are trying to sell their products directly to consumers, because in the good olden days, backpack manufacturers relied on third-party retailers. Still, it is the same. Most major brands out there sell via distributors or retailers as well. However, most companies are trying to go for direct-to-consumer sales because it's easier to convince a customer and build a rapport when you are getting in touch with the consumer directly via the company's website. And most players out there are considering the ergonomics and health and well-being of the users. So they are trying to design user-friendly backpacks which suit the differing needs of consumers, considering the health and safety of the users. And they are also focusing on, backpack manufacturers are focusing on aesthetics and fashion as well. As I mentioned earlier, certain customers actually utilize backpacks for fashion-related needs. So with that in mind, they are coming up with different types of eye-catching designs and whatnot. And they are also adopting minimalist designs to make sure that the backpacks can be easily used. And there's a lot of customization within the industry as well, with the intention of satisfying customers further and building brand loyalty. So these are the industry trends, and based on these trends, scenarios will be thrown at you at your real exam. So that's what happens within your chosen industry. So let's move on to the Preseen document. Before we move on to the Preseen analysis, before we try to understand what your company is all about, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS. So I'm on the OCS page. Click on this button and create a free user account. Via the free user account, you will gain access to the recorded versions of all weekly webinars and workshops which we are conducting. And on top of that, you will also gain access to the free mock exam, its suggested answer, and the answer plan. You also have the opportunity of attempting this free mock exam under exam conditions via the exam platform which we have developed. So we have developed an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system, which you'd use at your real exam. So when attempting each of your exams, you have the opportunity of attempting them under exam conditions with the intention of ensuring that you get your answering and time management techniques right at your real exam. So click on this button, create a free user account to gain access to this free content. And if you're interested in investing on paid content, check the sample material simply by clicking on this button. And join our OCS WhatsApp discussion forum by clicking on this button. And via this group, you can engage in group learning. And on top of that, if you have any questions, I'm always there to help you guys out. And we will be sharing a plethora of free content via the OCS WhatsApp group as well. So if you are not yet part of it, make sure to join it by clicking on this button. So talking about what we offer two main packages, the value pack and the premium pack. The value pack is designed for students who have completed their OTQs. So since you have completed your OTQs, you already know theory, you have already learned and championed theory. You simply need to focus on improving your application skills. So with that in mind, we have developed a certain set of resources. So under the if you opt for the value pack, you will gain access to the recordings of all webinars and workshops. You will also gain access to 6 mock exams with suggested answers. So on top of the free mock exam, you will gain access to 5 additional mock exams. So all in all, you will gain access to 6 mocks and suggested answers. And as I mentioned earlier, when developing these 6 mocks, I've made sure to cover the entire syllabus so that you are conversant with how each syllabus area is tested at your real exam. You will also gain access to Preseen analysis videos, 4 videos in total. And on top of that, you'd also gain access to the annotated Preseen. You will see what the annotated Preseen looks like in a little while. You'd also gain access to industry and financial analysis slides. So a while back, you saw what the industry analysis slides look like and its content. I did not take you through the entire set of slides. I solely focused on 2 main elements which are covered within these set of slides. So if you go for the value pack, you will gain access to the entire document, and you'd also gain access to financial analysis slides. So let me quickly show you what's highlighted within the financial analysis slides. So these are the set of slides which we prepared for the previous OCS case study. As you can see, we have evaluated each financial statement. We have evaluated the SOPL, the statement of financial position or the balance sheet, as well as the statement of cash flows. And we have also conducted a ratio analysis, and we have evaluated each ratio in depth, yet we have kept things simple so that you can easily understand what's highlighted within the financial statements of your chosen company. So each type of ratio we have evaluated in depth. So you'd gain access to these set of slides. So you need not work out the numbers based on the financial statements provided as part of your Preseen. We have done it for you. And you'd also gain access to top 10 likely issue slides. So these slides indicate the type of scenarios, the most probable scenarios, which can be tested at your real exam. You'd also gain access to a case study familiarization kit. Once you read this document, within 10 to 15 minutes, you will gain an in-depth understanding about the technicalities behind the OCS exam. You'd also gain access to a tutor-managed live chat and OTQ revision cards. So as I mentioned earlier, the value pack is designed for students who had already learned their theory. So after attempting a certain mock exam, if you feel that you had forgotten a certain concept, or you need to brush up your knowledge about a certain theoretical element, simply refer to the OTQ revision cards. You need not go back to or refer to your own study texts, your past notes and whatnot. We have made your life easy. Simply refer to the revision cards. Then in a jiffy, you'd remember you have the capability of revising theoretical concepts. So the value pack is priced at £199. Then talking about the premium package, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption route and those who had failed the OCS exam previously. So both these sets of students have the same problem. There are gaps in theoretical knowledge as well as issues with application skills. So with the intention of ensuring that you overcome your knowledge gaps as well as improve your application skills before you walk into your exam, we have come up with additional resources, or we have included additional resources under the premium package. So under the premium package, on top of what you'd get under the value pack, you'd also gain access to the online mock exam platform. As I mentioned earlier, it's best that you attempt your mock exams under exam conditions in an exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system. So we have developed a similar system for you. which gives you the opportunity to practice answering and time management technique. And on top of that, you'd have the opportunity of being exposed to exam stress, because it's best that you are exposed to exam stress when conducting your preparations. If so, you would know what to do at your real exam, because at the real exam, if you're exposed to exam stress, you will encounter something called brain freeze. And when you are encountering brain freeze, you are panicking. And when you panic, you won't develop successful answers, and you'd end up running out of time. And if you run out of time, you will not pass your OCS exam. So with the intention of facing stressful situations, as well as with the intention of practicing your answering and time management techniques, it's best that you practice all 6 mock exams under exam conditions via the exam platform. And you'd also receive one-on-one tutor feedback for the last 3 mock exams under the premium package. Let me quickly show you the type of feedback which we provide at TCS. So as you can see, I've provided in-depth feedback focused on each and every sentence as well as paragraph of this answer script, thereby highlighting what your shortcomings are. Because the best way to improve your chances of passing is to understand your shortcomings. And once you have understood your shortcomings, you can work towards overcoming them. So with that in mind, we provide in-depth tutor feedback. That's exactly what you can see throughout this answer script. And at the very end, we have provided mark allocations as well. And we indicate a success rate, which gives you an indication about the subtasks in which your performance was substandard. So after you have received tutor feedback, you are expected to redevelop something called an answer plan. You will understand this after attending next Saturday's webinar. So after receiving tutor feedback, you are supposed to redevelop something called an answer plan. So when redeveloping the answer plan, instead of focusing your attention towards redeveloping answer plans focused on the entire mock exam, you are simply supposed to redevelop answer plans focused on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow. So if you stick to this type of a methodology, you are not wasting time. Instead, you are focusing on your shortcomings and trying to overcome your shortcomings in a short period of time. And we provide general comments at the very end as well. Okay, so that's the type of feedback you'd get at TCS if you opt for the premium package. You'd also gain access to the answer plans of all 6 mock exams. So this is what an answer plan looks like. So no other service provider is sharing answer plans with you. You will only gain access to mock exams and suggested answers. We have gone a step further to make sure that your life becomes easy. We have given you a short note of each and every answer, which gives you the opportunity to understand the logic behind each answer. You stand a chance to easily understand how each theoretical element is tested and how you need to consider theoretical knowledge when developing your answers. You will gain an in-depth understanding about how to structure your answers, as well as you'd significantly improve your application skills, especially Preseen application skills. So once you have access to these type of answer plans, when conducting your revision, you are expected to keep developing answer plans on your own. And once you have redeveloped an answer plan, compare your fresh answer plans to the answer plans provided by us to further improve the quality of your answers, to further improve the way in which you structure your answers. So you'd gain access to answer plans of all 6 mock exams under the premium package, and you'd also gain access to 20 masterclasses. And via these masterclasses, we are teaching you the logic behind each answer, focused on the 5 paid mock exams. In each mock exam, there are 4 tasks. So 4 tasks into 5 mocks come up to 20 tasks in total. So focused on each task, we have developed a masterclass. The objective of developing these masterclasses is to ensure that you understand the logic behind each answer, at the same time learn theory and improve your application skills. And once you have access to all this content, you will pass for sure, hence the pass guarantee. However, in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to complete these 3 requirements. So let's assume you invest on the premium package and end up failing the exam. You will gain access to the premium package in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, in order to claim the pass guarantee, you have to complete all mock exams. If not, you will not be aware of how each syllabus area is tested at your exam. So you have to cover the entire syllabus when conducting your preparations. With that in mind, you have to complete all mock exams. And when attempting each mock exam, I do not want you guys to refer to the answers, the suggested answers, the answer plans, or the master classes. Instead, try to give your best shot. Then you will understand what your shortcomings are, because without understanding your shortcomings, there's no way to improve the quality of your answers. So your answers should be original. And on top of that, you need to meet the performance criteria when attempting the last 3 mock exams, especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback for the last 3 mocks. So you need to gain 40% or higher. We have come up with this criteria to make sure that you do a serious job when attempting the last 3 mock exams. And once you have completed all these 3 requirements, there's absolutely no way you'd fail the OCS exam, hence the pass guarantee. So the price of the package is £699. You can pay in 2 installments of £349 each across 2 months, or you can pay in full and save £100. If so, the price of the package is just £599. And all products are available until the 28th of February 2025. So if you are planning on sitting for the OCS exam in February 2025, you can invest now and start your preparations, which gives you a head start so that you can conduct your preparations in a stress-free environment. Okay, so let's quickly check the what we're supposed to do in the upcoming week as per the OCS study plan. So we are in week number 2. And as I mentioned in the first webinar, the second week or this week is dedicated towards the Preseen document. So you are supposed to, after attending this webinar, you are supposed to watch the 4 Preseen analysis videos. In the first video, I've provided an introduction into your company. In the second, I've highlighted about the internal dynamics, thereby taking you through the different departments of the company. In the third part, I've indicated about the future of the company, as well as highlighted what appears within the budgets. And in the fourth and final Preseen analysis video, I've done a financial analysis based on the financial statements of your chosen company. So the 4 videos are already up on your student dashboard. So within this week, go through these 4 videos to gain an in-depth understanding about the Preseen document. Then refer to the annotated Preseen on your own once you have, after watching the 4 Preseen analysis videos at your own pace, go through the annotated Preseen, thereby, revising the Preseen document once more, and refer to the industry and financial analysis slides on your own. So as I mentioned earlier, in the second week, which is this week, you are supposed to solely focus on your Preseen related preparation. And from next week onwards, once you have attended the third webinar, things get serious. After learning answering and time management techniques, you have to kickstart your mock exam preparations. Okay, so that's what you're supposed to do in the upcoming week as well as in this week. So having said that, let's move on to the Preseen analysis session. Okay, so you would have gone through the Preseen because it was released in the morning. I shared it via the WhatsApp group as well. So we have developed something called an annotated Preseen. Thereby we have come up with additional tutor annotations to make sure that you gain a good understanding about what appears within the Preseen. And as part of these annotations, we have also highlighted probable scenarios which can be tested at your exam. And at the same time, we have also highlighted the syllabus content which can be tested at your real exam. So first things first, let's try to understand what your role is. You are supposed to play the role of a finance officer within the finance department of BackOffice. So as I mentioned in the first webinar, you are located at the very bottom of the organization. In any given organization, there are 3 if you consider an organization's any given organization's hierarchy, there are 3 main parts. So you are at the very bottom, you are at the operational level. So you are involved with day-to-day operations of your company. So you are located within the finance department, and your role is to be a finance officer. So roles of a finance officer is to focus on the short term, because as I mentioned earlier, you are supposed to be involved with the day-to-day running of the business. So your focus is focus should be on the short term. And on top of that, as a finance officer, you have to be conversant with budgeting, because budgeting related elements will be tested at your exam. You have to be conversant with variance analysis, because your finance manager or some other manager will ask for your opinion. They will ask you to evaluate variance reports. They will provide the numbers. You are expected to evaluate these variance reports. And on top of that, you have to be conversant with costing, traditional costing methods, the existing costing method of your chosen company, the alternatives. And on top of that, you have to be conversant about digital costing as well. You have to be conversant with working capital management, how the company manages its receivables, payables, inventories, in an overall sense, how the company manages its cash flows. If you look at the financial statements of BackOffice, your chosen company, in the previous year, the company dependent on an overdraft facility. They ran out of cash. However, they have settled it. So everything looks fine at the moment. Although that is the case, in the future, the company intends to introduce 4 new products. You'll gain a better understanding later on. I'm just giving you information in a nutshell. The company intends to sell or introduce 4 new products to the market. So when doing it, the company might run out of cash once more. If so, you are expected to recommend how the steps the company should take to overcome short-term financing issues. And on top of that, you might be expected to highlight how to invest or how to utilize short-term cash surpluses as well. So all in all, you have to be conversant with working capital management. You should be involved with short-term risk management. So you have to be conversant with risk management techniques, the pros and cons of these techniques and whatnot. And in an overall sense, you are not involved with decision making. Instead, you are assisting decision makers. You are reporting to the finance manager. The finance manager, as well as different other managers within the organization, will take decisions considering your own department and various other departments. Your role is not to take decisions. Instead, you are supposed to assist decision makers. So that's what your role is. Let's look at what happens within your company. So BackOffice is a company that designs, manufactures, and markets backpacks. So this is totally aligned with what happens in a real life company, because I took you through the industry analysis slides. When defining the market or defining the industry, I said that it consists of manufacturers or companies which are into designing, manufacturing, and selling their backpacks. So that's exactly what BackOffice is into. So as a designer, manufacturer, and seller of backpacks, your knowledge pertaining to standard costing will be tested, because each product range is standardized. So when costing each product range, standard cost cards will be utilized. So you have to be conversant with standard costing, and not just standard costing. You have to be conversant with other costing methods as well. Both financial and non-financial elements will be tested at the exam. And on top of that, since the company is into selling multiple products, your knowledge pertaining to multi-product CVP analysis or multi-product break-even analysis will be tested at the exam. So let's look at what happens within your company. The company BackOffice is based in Iceland, of which the currency is $. And looking at Iceland, what this country is all about and how it helps us as an entity. Iceland has a long history of textile manufacturing, which is good for us because we are into backpack manufacturing. So if the textile manufacturing industry is operating properly, then it's easier for us to run our business. And Iceland also has an influential fashion industry. As I mentioned earlier, backpacks are used by certain customers for fashion related needs, for the aesthetics or the design of the backpacks. So, having an influential fashion industry which influences the entire world is beneficial for us. And we are into designing, manufacturing, and marketing backpacks, as I mentioned earlier. And we have a history of 9 years. We were founded in 2015. So we have been in operation for the past 9 years. And we are known as a high value brand. We are manufacturing high quality products. So because of that, we are charging a premium price. That's exactly why we are known as a high value brand. Our reputation is that of a high value brand. And since inception, since we started the business, sales had increased rapidly, which is good for us, which is a significant strength of the company. And the company was founded by Arlo James, who is the managing director at the moment. And he was an expert in, he is actually an expert in ergonomic backpack design. So he had worked in the backpack manufacturing industry before he started his own company. So he's aware of the user needs, how to look into health and well-being of users. That's what ergonomics is all about. Then he's conversant with technical textiles, different types of textiles, as well as how to use them when designing and manufacturing backpacks. And he's conversant with backpack manufacturing. So it's good to have such a managing director as well as a founder, which provides strategic direction for our company. And when he started the business, Arlo James exploited a gap in the market. There was a need for stylish, functional, and comfortable backpacks. It was not there in the market. So Arlo, our managing director and the founder, exploited this gap in the market. And if you look at the board, we are led by a senior management team. All individuals are competent. They are educated and experienced in their relevant fields. And what type of customers are we focusing our attention towards? We are focusing on hybrid workers. Who are hybrid workers? Those who are working from home and at the same time, whenever necessary, they'd walk into an office to get something done, or you call that hot desking. So, if I think about myself, I'm actually a hybrid worker because mostly I work from home, but whenever there's a meeting, I need to reach office. So, what are the needs of these hybrid workers? When utilizing backpacks should have the capability of carrying laptops, tabs, and whatnot. And on top of that, certain stationery such as notebooks, pen drives, pens, pencils, and whatnot should be carried. And there should be space to carry, food, some food items, and on top of that, there should be space for a water bottle as well. So all these elements should be looked into when focusing on hybrid workers, and the company should also focus on the comfort levels as well as the ergonomics and user friendliness of backpacks when focusing on these type of users who are hybrid workers. And when selling our products, we sell our products via our website as well as via third-party reputed retailer stores. Okay. And when we launched the brand, we became successful because our marketing was handled by a third-party marketing firm, and the demand for our products picked up due to an article which went viral in a fashion magazine. And on top of that, one of the A-list actresses endorsed our products, and this helped us launch our product out to the market and become a premium brand. And looking at the needs of hybrid workers, the bags should have the capability to organize laptops, tabs, files, chargers, and stationery. The backpacks should be easy to load, easy to transport, and comfortable to carry as well. So these are the customer needs. And let's look at the mission, ethos, and commitments of our company. So looking at the mission, we are trying to address the question, why do we exist? Why does this company exist? So BackOffice exists to produce backpacks which are beautiful. So we are looking at the aesthetics or We are trying to address the needs of fashion conscious customers. So our backpacks should be beautiful, useful, durable, as well as comfortable. So if we achieve all these things when developing our backpacks, then we are aligning ourselves with the mission of the company. And looking at the ethos or what we believe in sustainability as well as durability. So durability and sustainability go hand in hand. When we produce a durable product, customers will keep on using it for a longer period of time. If that is the case, we are achieving sustainability. So our ethos are intertwined. And looking at our commitments, we use ethically sourced, recyclable raw material at all times. So our raw material is not cheap because whenever we are dealing with ethically whenever we are dealing with ethical suppliers, it's not easy. Whenever we are opting for recyclable or recycled raw material, it's not easy, it's expensive. So that's exactly why we are pricing our products with a premium margin. And looking at the power sources, we power our offices and our production facility using solar energy, which is good for our sustainability outlook. We are using electric vehicles. And on top of that, we aim to achieve carbon neutrality by 2030 by improving supply chains, our manufacturing processes, as well as the way in which we transport our finished goods or our outward logistics. So all in all, looking at our commitments, it is aligned with the ethos of the company. So what type of syllabus areas can be tested based on this information? The CGMA cost transformation model will be tested at the exam because whenever there's a mention about sustainability, the CGMA cost transformation model comes into play, and your knowledge pertaining to digital costing, because if we are to be sustainable in the long run, then we have to keep track of all costs in a digital sense. So digital costing related knowledge will be tested. If we are to be sustainable, we have to uphold CSR, corporate social responsibility, because as a company, since we are utilizing resources which come from the society, we have to give back to the society. That's what CSR is all about. So you have to be conversant with CSR related knowledge. You have to be ethical as a business to be aligned with the ethos of the company. So you need to be conversant whenever you are suggesting something. If you suggest something unethical, you will end up failing the OCS exam. And you have to be conversant with non-financial factors in decision making, because although you are playing the role of finance officer, you are not supposed to solely look at the financial elements of your decisions. You are expected to provide information about non-financial factors when it comes to decision making or assisting decision makers. Then I'm not going to take you through um, the industry dynamics because I've covered them already within the Preseen analysis videos. Let's look at what type of products we manufacture. So we manufacture, at the moment, we manufacture 5 main different products, and these 5 products fall under 2 main categories. We are manufacturing office backpacks, which are work focused, which are solely focused on hybrid workers. And on top of that, we are also manufacturing everyday carrier backpacks or EDCs, which can be used for work as well as these can be used for leisure as well. So if you want to go camping, you can use our EDCs. And on top of that, if you want to simply get some groceries, still you can use our EDCs. So our office backpack range is solely focused on office related workers or hybrid workers. However, our EDCs can be used in office settings, and on top of that, it's leisure focused as well. And what do we offer? Sleek aesthetics. So our backpacks look good, and our backpacks are functional, easy to use, and it offers high levels of comfort to the user as well. And when it comes to designing our backpacks, we are utilizing CAD or computer-aided designing. And using CAD, we come up with prototypes, and these prototypes are rigorously tested before they are pushed on to manufacturing. And usually, whenever we are trying to introduce a new product to the market, it takes about 10 months per new design. So this shows the type of effort and resources we put into our design and testing processes. And as I mentioned earlier, we try to maintain a premium quality, which is aligned with our reputation as a high-end brand. And what type of high quality elements are we looking at? We use ergonomic adjustable back straps. Then we use a patented back panel airflow system. We use the finest ballistic nylon within our backpacks. We use TJJ zippers, which are the best out there. We use skilled craftsmen, and we always source from expert local suppliers. Why do we try to source from local suppliers? With the intention of reducing our carbon emissions in transportation. Okay, so that's what our quality is all about. So as you can see, if you get your hands on the annotated Preseen, you need not go through all this information. You simply need to refer to this set of information provided, which is a good summary of the entire Preseen. Then looking at the different product ranges, we, as I mentioned earlier, we offer two main product ranges, the Office and EDC range. Under the Office range, we manufacture three product categories. Ufico, which is our premium office backpack. It's the most expensive. And we also manufacture a mid-sized range, which is known as Capsula, and a small backpack, which is known as Scrivania. And looking at the EDC range, again, the main demarcation is based on size. So we produce two clamshell backpacks, which are large and small. And any of our five backpacks can be personalized. So customers can come up with their initials. We fix 3 initials free of charge. And if they go for additional initials, then they have to pay an additional fee. And BackOffice sells 5 different backpacks. Okay, and I'm not gonna take you through the information pertinent to each of our directors, but all in all, everyone is experienced and qualified. And when these guys are taking decisions, they have to be ethical. They might ask for your suggestions. If so, when assisting decision makers, as I mentioned earlier, you have to always be concerned about the ethical outlook, and digital and social media marketing will be tested because, as per what is highlighted within the SMT meeting minutes, there's a shortcoming in this element. So that's exactly why I've mentioned this point. Okay, so looking at the different departments, this is your department, the finance department, which is led by a finance director, and the finance manager reports directly to the finance director, and you are one of the finance officers. So you are reporting to Leo Lane, your finance manager, and in most emails, you'd see this name because your finance manager will be asking for your opinion in almost all the questions. And looking at the sales and marketing department, it's headed by a sales and marketing director. And under this director, there are two different departments which are headed by 2 different individuals. There's a head of retailer sales and head of website sales. As I mentioned earlier, we sell our products via our website as well as via third-party retailers. So focused on these 2 sales channels, we have 2 different heads. And looking at the production department, it consists of 5 main elements. So there's a head of procurement, which handles or deals with different suppliers. And there's a head of cutting. This is where all the raw material is cut into various different elements, 120 pieces in general when manufacturing one single bag. And there's a head of sewing. This is where we put all the cut pieces together. And there's final assembly where all these accessories and whatnot, if there's if a customer is asking for personalization, fixing all these different parts and all these things come into play in the final assembly. And once a backpack is manufactured and it's done, it is sent to the packing department where we pack it in different types of packaging material focused on our retail customers as well as individual website-based customers. And we have an R&D arm within the organization, because we are not only into manufacturing and selling backpacks, we are designing our own backpacks as well. So this is led by R&D director, and this department is divided into two main parts. There's in one of the departments, design elements are handled, and once a certain backpack is designed, it should be tested. The prototype should be tested before it is sent to manufacturing. So there's a head of prototype as well, or prototyping as well. And there's an HR department, which is led by a director, and under the director, there's an HR manager. And with regards to distribution, this is divided into two main parts. There's a head of finished goods distribution, as well as head of website sales distribution, because as I mentioned earlier, website sales is known as a direct to consumer element. So we are distributing our products on an individual basis. However, when dealing with retailers, we are distributing our products on bulk. So these two elements, distribution methods, are handled differently. That's why you get two different heads. Okay, so having said that, let me quickly take you to the senior management meeting minutes. I've taken a lot of time, but I just want to direct your attention towards SMT meeting minutes, because as I mentioned earlier, by going through the SMT meeting minutes, you are in a position to understand what type of scenarios will be tested at your real exam. So let's try to understand what appears within the SMT meeting minutes. I'm not going to take you through the entire document. I'm simply going to focus on one of the elements covered within this document. Okay, so the SMT meeting minutes include information about issues with a certain product which we launched. It had failed, so it gives us an indication about what had gone wrong. And on top of that, these meeting minutes give us an indication about the product pipeline, what we intend to achieve, and what we intend to introduce in the future. So what type of syllabus areas will be tested at your exam? Short-term investing and financing options will be tested, because whenever we are trying to do something new, introduce an innovative product to the market, we might face cash flow issues. If so, you need to go for short-term financing options. And on top of that, if we have cash surpluses, rather than holding it within our banks, it's best that we go for short-term investment. So both these elements will be tested at your exam. Risk attitudes when going for something new, the way in which individuals with different risk attitudes will operate is totally different to each other. So you need to be conversant with how a risk taker, a risk neutral individual, as well as a risk averse individual will react based on the information presented in each scenario. You have to be conversant about payoff tables, decision trees, expected values, standard deviation, coefficient of variation, what each and every numbers and diagrams, what it indicates. You have to be aware of how to explain each diagram and the numbers provided at the exam. You have to be conversant with what you need to consider with regards to perfect information, how to value perfect information, and you have to be conversant with the limitations of different risk management tools as well. So I'm not going to focus your attention towards the issue with the product which failed. Instead, I want to focus your attention towards what we intend to do in the future. So the board is considering, or the SMT senior management team is considering to introduce a PET backpack, or a backpack which is manufactured using PET bottles, or simply put, the plastic water bottles which we use on a daily basis. So as I mentioned earlier, younger customers are looking for backpacks which are manufactured using recycled material. That's exactly what we are trying to do in the future. So the development of this backpack range is complete, which indicates that we have tested the prototypes, we have designed using CAD, we have tested the prototype, and we are waiting to push it towards production. And what type of customers are we focusing on? The type of customers who are green and who are looking for a luxurious product. So this product is totally aligned with what we are as a company. We are a premium brand. We are known for our high quality. So we are trying to sell our products to a similar set of customers who are looking for luxury as well as who are looking for the green credentials. And market research indicates that the product will be successful. So everything looks good at the moment. And we are in the process of selecting a PET supplier. So this is a hint provided by the examiner about what can be tested at the exam. So it's everything looks rosy up until now. However, the examiner says that we are yet to select a PET supplier. We have gone through a set of suppliers and we have shortlisted two. And out of these two, we are trying to select one single supplier because our intention is to opt for single sourcing. So why should we go for single sourcing? Because the SMT thinks when dealing with this PET supplier, the success of this product depends on the quality of PET which we source from this supplier. So with the intention of sourcing the highest quality PET, it's best to go for collaborative, or it's best to look for collaborative relationships. So it's easy to collaborate with one single supplier rather than trying to collaborate with multiple suppliers. It will be expensive when dealing with one single supplier. We will have to dance to the tune of the supplier. When the supplier dictates a certain price, we have to stick to it. We have to conduct our costing initiatives based on the price provided by the supplier. That's the downside of going for single sourcing. However, we can make sure that we always receive high quality raw material and the lead times are less as much as possible. So that's why we are going for single sourcing. So we have shortlisted two, and at the exam, definitely you will have to select one single supplier. So when selecting this supplier, this SMT intends to select based on quality. What type of quality related elements are we looking at? Strength of the polyester provided by the supplier, green credentials of the supplier, and the proximity to factory, because we try to reduce our carbon emissions in transportation. So based on this information, the probable exam scenarios which can be tested are choosing a PET supplier. You will have to consider financial and non-financial elements when suggesting or coming up with your suggestions. And there might be a question where we have selected a certain supplier and we are faced with issues. And as a finance officer, you are expected to give your recommendations to overcome these issues, such as suggesting KPIs. So expect to suggest KPIs focused on this PET supplier to keep track of the performance of the PET supplier. So the examiner has already given us an indication about the type of quality which we look into. So based on these elements, you can suggest KPIs. And on top of that, at the exam, certain issues will be highlighted, and with the intention of overcoming these issues, you are expected to come up with your or recommend KPIs. So the answer depends on the information presented in the scenario as well as information presented in the Preseen document. And on top of that, when introducing a new product, sales will be will not be aligned with our budgets. So because of that, your knowledge pertinent to variance analysis, especially sales variances, will be tested. When trying to manufacture a new product range, we might have to acquire new machines, or alternatively, we might have to lease new machines. And we might, when trying to fund these investments, we might end up selling our old machines as well. And on top of that, when we are trying to go for better manufacturing operations, we might have to adopt automation or artificial intelligence in manufacturing as well. So these are the probable exam scenarios which can be tested. So based on these scenarios, I've suggested syllabus areas which can be tested as well. Your knowledge pertinent to what if analysis and sensitivity analysis will be tested. Decision trees, multi-product break-even analysis, especially considering the fact that we are trying to introduce a new product to the market. And on top of that, your knowledge pertinent to variance analysis, not just sales variances, but other variances as well, will be tested. And if we go for an acquisition of new machines or equipment, your knowledge pertinent to IAS 16 property, plant, and equipment will be tested. And if you are trying to sell old machines, revaluations will be tested again, which is covered under IAS 16 property, plant and equipment. And accounting for depreciation, which falls under IAS 16 PPE, will be tested, property, plant and equipment. Then if we opt to, rather than purchasing these machines, if we opt to lease these machines, IFRS 16 leases will be tested. And you have to be conversant with how to adopt AI in operations, the pros and cons of it. And if we adopt automation, or if we opt for artificial intelligence, then it might result in redundancies. If so, if you are faced with redundancies, you have to know how to handle these elements in an ethical manner. Then when manufacturing a new product, we might need to utilize new components which are not used within our existing ranges. So when purchasing these producing these components, we can either produce them in-house or we can opt for outsourcing. So your knowledge pertinent to make or buy decisions will be tested at the exam. And you are expected to suggest KPIs to keep track of inefficiencies highlighted in an exam scenario, as I mentioned earlier. So likewise, you have to go through the entire annotated Preseen to understand the remaining information presented, because we are planning to introduce 4 new products to the market. So I've taken you through one of the products which we intend to introduce to the market, and based on the information presented, I've highlighted the type of scenarios which can be tested, and aligned with it what you need to be conversant with regards to syllabus coverage. You need not worry, because all these elements and all these scenarios are covered within our 6 mock exams. So that's what I wanted to highlight in the Preseen analysis. I hope you gained an in-depth understanding about your industry, as well as what happens within back office and what it intends to achieve in the future, and what type of issues or scenarios will be tested at your real exam. Having said that, I'm going to the Q&A. If you have any questions, you can raise them now. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks. Seems like there aren't any more questions. So I'm happy to announce that in the previous sitting, which was May 2024, we achieved a 96% pass rate. And in the first webinar, I explained what you need to do on a weekly basis, thereby taking you through the 8-week study plan, which we have developed for you. So if you stick to the study plan and allocate something like 9 hours of study time per week, you are in a position to pass your OCS exam comfortably. In fact, those who stick to our study plan end up achieving more than 100 marks when the pass mark is just 80. Why is this the case? Because you are supposed to attempt 6 mocks covering the entire syllabus. Then you are supposed to work you are supposed to redevelop answer plans when conducting your revision. That's the best type of revision you should focus on to get your answers right at your real exam. So if you want to contact us, you can do it via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com. So simply go to our website and click on the contact button and drop a message. Our admin staff will get in touch with you via email. And on top of that, before I forget, let me remind you to check out the blog post focused on your company back office. And this highlights, there's a good summary of the information, the important points highlighted within your Preseen document. So go to the blog area and click on this to read through the blog post, and closer to the exam as well, you can reread this blog post to remind yourself about what's highlighted within your Preseen. And if you want to email us, you can do it via info@study@tcs.com, or simply drop us a message via this WhatsApp number. And I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles, especially YouTube and TikTok, because the recorded versions of these webinars and workshops will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. And on top of that, as I mentioned earlier, via TikTok, the industry analysis is already up. and the remaining videos will be up in the upcoming 4 days. So if you keep watching these TikToks until the day of the exam, you need not do anything else to memorize what appears within your Preseen document. So having said that, it brings us to the end of the Preseen analysis. I hope you gained an understanding about your industry and your company. And I expect you guys to attend the third webinar to learn answering and time management technique. And within this week, before you attend next Saturday's webinar, I want you guys to go through the 4 Preseen analysis videos and be conversant with what appears within your Preseen. Because if you're conversant without getting your bearings with your Preseen document, there's absolutely no point of attempting mock exams. So thank you very much. I'll see you guys next week.